Welcome to The Maintenance Mindset, an audio-video podcast brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network. I'm your host, Paul Rhodes, and over the more than 3 decades in the apartment industry, I've had roles that include being on-site, providing services as a vendor, creating and delivering multiple education programs, and active association work. This podcast is centered on the often overlooked role that our on-site maintenance workers play. You know, the men and women that respond in the middle of the night to the toilet call, or the after hours, it's really hot in my apartment request, or my favorite, my ring fell down the drain, get over here now. In other words, the often unsung heroes who are responsible for asset preservation and resident satisfaction. Working in multifamily maintenance provides interesting, sometimes amusing, and often fascinating stories and viewpoints. My encouragement to you is this: whatever you do it with a maintenance mindset. Hey, Bert, it's wonderful to finally meet you.
Paul, it's been a pleasure. I've gotten to be a fan from a distance for a while, so it's been cool to connect here in Vegas and get to know you.
Is fantastic. Well, as you're aware, on the maintenance mindset, I talk about topics that are important for on-site apartment maintenance technicians and the teams that they serve. My question for you is, if you had that wonderful magical wand or that big green button that makes it go away, what thing do you think we need to solve best of all for our on-site maintenance teams and the job that they do to make it better?
Magic wand. So I don't think there's anything bigger that's impacting our industry than staffing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Finding qualified, skilled individuals, professionals. So when I look at that aspect, I think about, I dabbled in the tech world for a little while. And the thing I felt like if I could solve one thing, we could fix a lot of things. And that was, and this is going to sound really crazy, but if I could eliminate callbacks, we solve a lot of problems, especially staffing availability.
I honestly don't think that's crazy at all. I think that's extremely sane. I think the challenge, though, is what are we defining as a callback?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, right. Residents are residents, right?
Yes.
So there's
love them.
There's an aspect
love
of like, can I just get like Johnny to come back and see me?
Right.
I'm a little bit lonely. And so there's the resident that's just like, you didn't do it good enough, right? It could be a little bit tighter. My toilet seat, it's got a little wiggle to it. And so you've got to weed through the resident being a resident.
Yes.
And then what's a legitimate callback? And, this is where like data is such, we say data like it's a thing, right? like it's a one thing.
Wait. You're talking about maintenance technicians, the guys that know the proper end of a toilet plunger to hold. They know how to swing a hammer. They know how to charge an air conditioning unit. They do physical things with physical tools on physical equipment. And we do talk about data like it is a physical thing. And how the H-E-double hockey stick.
It's Vegas. You can say it.
It's Vegas. I can say it. How are we expected to collect this information from a group of people that the primary drive is do it faster?
Right.
And yet the job of data collection by all the big name data collection agencies that we use is relying on people that look for physical things.
Right. They just
to document.
And to your point, everyone involved in that process, no one cares about data.
Right.
The resident doesn't care about data.
No.
The technician, for the most part, doesn't care about data. But everyone outside of that relationship is really maybe they're not as concerned as they should be, but they should be very concerned about the data, because it's the thing that, you know, data as a currency,
right,
in the world that we live in today. You know, there are a lot of things that we need to use to capitalize on that's available within that part of the world. I mean, in my experience from Chadwell Supply, so, you know, I worked for one management company. I was a regional property manager for an affordable housing management company. Shout out to Westminster Company. I learned a ton about one way to do it, right?
Right.
And then when I came to Chadwell Supply, I got exposed to hundreds of companies and hundreds of different ways that owners, managers are or are not managing maintenance.
Right.
And probably everyone believes they're managing maintenance. Everyone believes they're managing it well, but they're using the wrong KPIs to track proper maintenance management. They're looking at budget management. They're looking at the fiscal management, not the physical management of these assets. And there's a lot of new technology that's out there that's really trying to adapt to how can I kind of get my hooks into that technician, and how can I get better information in their hands? Because if I put better information in the technician's hands, they're going to give me better information on the back end. So I really have a better understanding of what's going on. And even if it's to the point of like understanding the skills of my technicians, I think that's a big part of it is we don't do a great job of like maintenance technician. That's as broad as it can be. I mean, these guys they're groundskeepers, they're plumbers, they're HVAC technicians, they're appliance maintenance specialists, you know, they're carpenters, they're painters. I mean, it's
to your point, you're talking about all these physical skills that we're expecting of our maintenance broad term technician. And we're looking to add data entry specialist on top of all that. And to the decision makers, I like what you said there. Data is currency. The people who trade in that currency, the collection of that information is more important to that piece than the maintenance technician in the field who just has a resident with a clogged toilet. Or a clogged sink. So what can we do? What is the broad next steps? Remember, you have the magic wand. So in your perfect world, how would it happen?
That's the tough part, right?
Right.
So I think number one is we have to take an honest look at our existing operations and take an internal inventory of, are we truly managing maintenance, or are we just looking at budget management?
Ooh.
You know, and it's a relatively easy question to answer.
Yeah. From
the standpoint of there's a lot of focus. So I've been in this industry for a little while. So I've seen a couple cycles that I've lived through some of these cycles, but you know, if you're someone that's only been in the industry for the last 15 years, say, you've elevated yourself to a vice president, you're in a good decision-making influential position within your organization. But 15 years ago, this is the first challenging phase of multifamily that you've hit. You haven't been through some of the cycles that we hit in 2007, 2008. Right. So you live through the world of, if I've got a problem, I just raise rents to fix the problem.
That's a great way right now in 2025. That is a great way to solve problems.
Yeah. And I heard it said, I don't know. I get a lot of good input from a lot of great people, but now we have to manage the middle of the balance sheet. Right. You can't just stack on top on the revenue and expect the outcome to be great. So now we've got to manage the middle, and that middle's the expenses. And so take a real look at, you know what, let's take a look at your operating handbooks. So I've seen a lot of like managers handbooks that look, I came from affordable housing. So the HUD handbook is like, if you have a problem seeing over the steering wheel, stick this thing under your seat and you're gonna be great, right? But I've seen, you look at maintenance handbooks for an organization, And a lot of it looks like 6 pages stapled together with crayons written on it. You know,
that hasn't been updated or seen in the past decade and a half.
Right. So you're depending on an individual's ability to drive. So there's no standardization. There's no cross-functional policy SOP. So like, just to take a word, standardization, like that's a first step of like centralization's a big buzzword right now. Right?
Oh, I'm going to have to stop you there because 1, we're out of time. And 2, centralization, that is a challenging word for all of the big meanings. You think technician is a broad word?
Yeah.
Centralization is even worse. It's almost as broad as AI.
Right.
And going
so
there.
If you, so I'll leave you with this piece.
Yeah.
If you can't standardize what plumbing fixtures you're going to put in your apartment communities,
yes,
you can't centralize your apartment community management.
You are exactly right. So if we're going to solve the issue, wave that magic wand, it begins with standardizing, being sure that what we're doing with maintenance is exactly what we need to have happen with maintenance, not exactly what we need to have happen with managing the budget. Right. Always. Those two end up being cross. And unfortunately, my experience has been that the maintenance team loses out. Bert, it's been wonderful to talk to you. Thank you for spending time
Paul,
with me
thank you.
today.
It's been great.
It's awesome. I agree with you. Thank you, sir.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Maintenance Mindset. I hope you take away ideas that apply to your current and future career goals. Please check out Maintenance Mindset Minute to hear short-form, high-impact, applicable, maintenance-centered information. Whatever you do today, do it with a maintenance mindset. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. Visit multifamilymedianetwork.com to learn more about our other industry podcasts, thought pieces, and sponsorship opportunities. I'll see you somewhere.